So to make a continuation video of the video that we did the other day when we talked about my favorite vehicles that I want to come to War Thunder, we're actually going to do the negative side and actually talk about the vehicles and also concepts that I don't think should come to the game as a whole. So basically, I'm not going to really talk about individual vehicles because, as you know, War Thunder has always had this thing of where even if they say it's not possible, it's going to be probably added at some point. Ask them about top tier premiums, ask them about vehicles like supersonic jets, and the F-100 and the MiG-19 were added anyway, even though we won't go past the Korean War. That was another thing they used to say. So I definitely feel like if I go onto this video and just talk about vehicles that I don't want to see, like a B-52, like probably at some point it's going to be added into the game. So I definitely just want to go over concepts whenever it comes to this. And the first one will be an actual vehicle that I don't want to see. But at the same time, I feel like in War Thunder, if it's possible to be added in any sort of way, I wouldn't bet against it. That's the best thing to put it. So the first one is the American King Tiger. So if you don't know the story of the Tiger 332, it's actually a pretty interesting one because America actually captured a King Tiger and they kind of drove it around for a bit, and that's basically all that they did. And then they sent it back to the States to Aberdeen to get tested, and then it stood at like Fort Knox for a little bit. And then finally, it actually ended up at Fort Moore, which is actually a interesting thing because I've actually seen this tank before. It's actually pretty interesting that this tank was actually kept around, but it's also a King Tiger that America captured. Now, yes, did America use it? Yes, I mean, they did. But at the same time, it would be 6.7. It would be a King Tiger, and America already has way too many heavy tanks at 6.7, and it really does not fill a gap. And why did they need a King Tiger? Now answer that question for me, and you'll probably understand why. So yeah, 100%, this is the one vehicle that I would say doesn't need to be added. I mean, technically, yes, America didn't use it, but at the same time, I definitely would say this is a vehicle that I do not want to see, just because there's already so many 6.7 heavies. Like, it doesn't need to be added, and it would just like be a weird vehicle to be added in general. But probably this is probably the one thing I am going to say about it. I'm betting against it, and it probably will come in a battle pass or an event at some point, and I'll be proven wrong, but we'll have to see. But yeah, if I had to pick one vehicle, this is the one that I would want to see not added. So number 2, this is going to be one that I think is pretty much like something that should never be added, which is pure flamethrower tanks. So yes, we do have vehicles like the Churchill. We also have the T-55, which have flamethrowers on them. I think those are fine. As long as the tank itself has a main gun or something that can actually damage other tanks, I feel like the flamethrower is completely fine. Now, I don't want to see stuff like we have enlisted, where we have like I think it's like the T-130 or something like that. It's a Russian little BT looking thing that has a flamethrower on it. Like, I definitely don't want to see that sort of thing. I don't want to see like the Satan, the wonderful M3A1 Satan. Like, that one also is just a flamethrower. You have a couple of Shermans with their flamethrowers. You also have like an M48, which is a flamethrower tank. None of these vehicles should be added into the game unless they can actually have an actual gun to damage other armor. This isn't enlisted. This isn't a game of where you have infantry to fire at. You need something to damage other tanks. So yeah, number 2 is a 100%. Do not add any flamethrower tanks that are just purely dedicated to flamethrowers, unless they have something very unique about them and they throw bombs or something and they can actually destroy enemy tanks. Unless that can happen, I definitely would recommend against adding any of these guys. For number 3, it's actually going to be kind of a little bit controversial, and I feel like this is the one that you may not agree with me on. And this one is just random trucks or random Humvees with like 50 cals or miniguns on them. I don't really see a purpose in adding them. Yes, I understand, like some people have said you can put a minigun at like 1.0 on a Humvee for America and it would give them an amazing SPA, or you could get some technicals like a Dishka on it or something like that. I don't feel like those are going to be good for the game in general, because yeah, they're going to be memes. Like, people enjoy them a ton, but after people play them like 2 or 3 times, they're just going to be more of a nuisance than they are anything else. Like, imagine if you're playing Russia and you have like the technical on your team and it's just a 50 cal truck. Like, yeah, that's definitely going to help out your team a ton, and it's just going to rush in and die. So to me, at least, if a vehicle like that isn't needed for an SPA, like super low tiers, I don't think they should ever add them. I mean, I'm perfectly fine if they want to add a truck with like a recoilless cannon on it, or they want to add a Humvee with a tow missile on it. Sure, fair enough. Add those because they actually serve a purpose to the game. But if they're just adding a Humvee with a 50 cal on it, like, why? I mean, like, you already have vehicles which already serve that purpose, and I feel like that would be just a huge waste of potential. And also, like I said, it's not going to be fun whenever people take those vehicles and just troll with them and bring them in like the top tier or something like that and just run around with a Humvee with a 50 cal. I honestly think this could be extremely negative for the game, and hopefully we don't see that. But at the same time, if a nation does need SPA, I don't mind if they add those sort of things. But yeah, if you already have SPA, you don't really need these sort of things. Number 4, Now, this one has been brought on by recent conflicts throughout the world, and it's drone warfare. So we have drones already whenever it comes to top tier, past like 10.0. Those are kind of annoying. As we know, whenever they first came out, they were very annoying because they spawned right over the battlefield and they could just attack everybody. But now I would say that they're pretty especially like super top tier SPAs, basically spawn kill them. But at the same time, the drones that I'm talking about are the type that you take and strap munitions to. Let's just say that you strap a mortar to it and you go fly it into an enemy tank, and then you take out the engine or you completely destroy the crew. I don't think these should be added at all. I mean, maybe if you want to add them, and this is, I'll give it a maybe to it. It should be a kill streak of some sort, and it should not be added into light tanks to where you can just crash into stuff and you can damage it. Because imagine just how annoying that's going to be. Like, you're trying to play the game, and here's like 5 or 6 different like light tanks that spawn in their drones, and they're using them more or less to just like completely negate your people from like pushing positions and everything. And like, imagine if you're in cover, and then here comes a drone, you're tracked, or it goes for your breach, and then you're breached, and then the enemy can just push you. It was not a fair fight at all. Drones in general are not fair if you've not seen throughout the world and seen all the combat footage. And in my opinion, this would just be overall negative for the game. I don't think it would be fun. I don't think it would be entertaining. But at the same time, I mean, like, I feel like the drones as is right now, whenever you can just scout, and also they're becoming more, or they're becoming better within the next major update. I feel like drones in general should still have the ability to just be a scout drone. Like, don't add bombs to them. Don't add random mortars or RPGs to them so they can crash into tanks. This would honestly probably just be one of the worst updates into the game, especially at like 8.0 or 8.3, where you, like, there's a lot of vehicles like a Leopard 1 which has no armor. Like, these vehicles or these drones would just be able to destroy them outright, which would just be crazy. But at the same time, I do not want to see this sort of thing added into the game. And then finally, for number 5, this one's also a little bit controversial, but at the same time, I don't think it would be fun. Like, I've thought about this one a lot because it's deployable mines or AT deployables. So back in the day, there was this thing whenever it came to War Thunder where there would be like AT guns, and there would be different things throughout the map that would shoot at you, and it would just be annoying because you'd be across the map. One of the AIs would see you with the AT gun, and they would fire, and then they would hit you, and then you would be like, "Wow, that was crazy," because it was like a 75 with the like Panzer IV gun, and it was just annoying because you'd be in like a T-28 and you'll just die. That's pretty much the same thing that I would figure from, like, if you had deployables, like if you could build defenses and all that sort of stuff, like you could build a tow launcher and you could actually get it to cover an area. Like, I don't think that would be incredibly fun. Like, I feel like whenever you put that sort of thing into the game, it's going to make it to where you have people who want to play super duper defensively, and whenever you have like 3 or 4 people doing that at one position, like let's just say that you're having to push a capture point, like the defenders are already in an extreme huge advantage. And so now you're having to push it with even more people, technically with the AIs. Like, it's going to be impossible to like push, like get onto objectives and do other things, because you're having to worry about, instead of, let's just say like 2 people, you're having to worry about 4, because they could throw out an AT gun or they could throw out a tow launcher, and then you're getting shot at from 4 different directions instead of just 2. So honestly, don't think this would be a huge thing to be added. Hopefully it never does get added. I don't think War Thunder is going to do it, because they kept actually removing this sort of thing, because like I said, back in the day, you could actually play maps and you would have these AT guns. But yeah, that was incredibly unfair because the AI in War Thunder is very, very basic. And if they see you, even if it's through like 5 sets of bushes, they're still able to shoot at you. As for mines, like, I don't know exactly how I kind of feel about this. Like, I feel like it would be kind of cool if you were able to like block off an area, but also it's very easy to like counter it in a way. Like, you're able to see the mines clearly as the enemy, and maybe it makes you have to like think about if you want to actually go in this direction, or you can make a bunch of noise and shoot like a heat FS to the ground and actually destroys it. But mines that take out a tank completely, or that track them, or that do all kind of just annoying things to them, I don't think would be incredibly fun, especially if you're not able to see them, especially if you're not able to really defend against them as a defender. But at the same time, I don't think deployables at all like need to be added into the game. I don't really mind if you want to do deployables like camo netting, or if you want to do stuff like building an entrenchment or something like that. Those are fine. But what I don't really want to see is, like I said, like AT guns, or you're able to spawn in infantry, or you're able to do all that sort of thing, because it would just imbalance the game so much. And I feel like that's going to be one thing that definitely probably would never happen into the game in general. But at the same time, it does limit the game a ton. And I understand probably some of you are commenting right now that like you want to see new game modes and everything. It does limit it a ton of what you can do. But if they're going to do this sort of thing, I would rather see tested out in like a PvE mode just to see how it kind of goes. And then maybe in the future, we're able to like put it into the live game if it's like actually worth putting into. But yeah, definitely one of those that would need to be tested. But as of right now, whenever I'm thinking about it, I don't want to see deployables in the game in general. So yeah, that's going to be my top 5 list of things I just don't want to see within War Thunder, especially whenever it comes to just general things that would probably be negative for the game. What do you guys think? Would you actually introduce any of these sort of things? Would you actually add to the list at all? Make sure to leave that sort of stuff in the comments. Hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.